So hi there students, welcome back again to another video lesson for grade 7 mathematics quarter 4. So during the 6th and 7th week of our discussion, so we have discussed measures of central tendency, mean, median, and mode, and then last week, week 7, we have discussed measures of variability, so range, mean deviation, standard deviation, and variance. So for this week, so we will be discussing another topic which is related to those topics. Kasi dito, we will be determining which appropriate statistical measures is suited to the given problem. So, in short, so dito, aalamin natin kung ano ba yung akmang statistical measures sa mga problem na ipepresent. So, hindi lahat ng mga statistical measures ay pwede nating i-apply dun sa given problem. So, nakadepende po yan sa ating mga data. So, let's start. So, for our lesson objectives, we will use appropriate statistical measures in analyzing and interpreting statistical data. So, by the way, what is analyzing and interpreting statistical data? So, yung analyzing data, so ito yung mga ginawa natin yung nakaraan, yung measures of central tendency and variability. So, after kasi nating mag-analyze using those statistical measures, that will be the time that we will be writing the interpretation. So, kung ano yung conclusion natin dun sa nakuha nating result. So, let us first define analyzing data and interpreting data. So, when we say analyzing data, this is the process of extracting from the given data relevant information from which numerical description can be formed. Okay, so dito papasok yung ating computation. So, kasi part ng analyzation natin is yung pagpapakita natin ng computation, ng solusyon kung paano natin sinosolve yung problem. Okay, so dyan, titignan natin kung mean ba yung akma dun sa given data, kailan ba median, kailan standard deviation, kailan ba average deviation ang gagamitin. Okay, so after nating mag-analyze, sabi ko nga, that is the time that we're going to interpret the results. Okay, so dyan tayo kukuha ng insights, tinatawag nating conclusion, generalizations, recommendations. So after analyzing, data will be reviewed for the purpose of drawing conclusions, suggestions, and recommendations. Like for example, kung nagkakaroon tayo ng research study, okay? So, 'di ba? So, after nating i-analyze yung data, so kukuha tayo diyan ng conclusions. I-explain natin kung ano ba ang nangyaring, ano ba ang naging resulta. Okay, so ano ba ang dapat na gawin pa, okay, sa susunod. So, papasok yung conclusion, suggestions, and recommendations. So, yung analyzing and interpreting data, so magkasunod po yan na steps. Kasi yung una yung collecting, organizing, presenting, analyzing, tapos interpreting. So, yung collecting, organizing, and presenting, na i-discuss na po natin yan. So, yung analyzing, tapos na rin natin. Kaya lang, since partner nga sila, kailangan ulit natin siyang i-discuss. So, balikan muna natin yung measures of central tendency and variability. So, dito muna tayo sa mean. Okay, so, mean, this is the most reliable measure of central tendency. It is also known as the average. So, sa tatlong ito talagang mean ang pinaka-ginagamit natin. Like, for example, sa pagkuha ng grade, di ba? Final grade, general average. So, mean ang ating ginagamit talaga. And then, kailangan nating i-consider yung very small and large numbers dahil kapag yung ating data dinagdagan natin ng sobrang liit at sobrang lalaking mga numbers, maapektuhan po yung ating mean. Okay. So, pwede nating gamitin yung mean kung wala namang extreme values. Okay. So, yung extreme values na ito nga yung mga very small and very large numbers. Okay. So, mamaya explain natin kung bakit hindi mean ang gagamitin dun sa given data, bakit mean ang kailangan gamitin. Okay, so next, we have median. Basically, yung median, ito yung middle number. So, it is the middle number when the number is arranged in ascending or descending order. So, tandaan natin, kailangan nating i-arrange yung data para makuha natin yung median. So, kapag yung given data natin is hindi naka-arrange and then in-identify natin yung pinakagitna doon, so, magiging mali po yung ating sagot. So, first and foremost, kailangan po nating i-arrange. Okay, so unlike mean, so hindi masyadong naapektuhan yung median ng mga extreme values. Okay. Next, mode. It is the number that occurs most often in a set of data. So yung mode dito, hindi naman talaga natin siya kailangan i-compute. Dahil tinitignan lang natin alin yung number, yung data, yung score na nag-occur ng mas maraming beses. Okay. So it is used when you want the most frequent item or number in a list of data. So, kung tinitignan natin yung number, yung score, yung item na pinaka mataas ang frequency, so mode ang ating gagamitin. So, let us now proceed to measures of variability. So, measures of variability, or commonly known as measures of dispersion, describes how far away the data points tend to fall from the center. Okay, so dito, tinitingnan natin yung individual scores kung gaano kalayo sila dun sa mean, yung sa center. Okay, so yan, diniscuss na natin dyan yung common measures of variability, yung range, yung difference between the highest and the lowest score, yung average or mean deviation, so variance and standard deviation. So anyway, meron naman tayong mga video lessons dyan. So kung gusto niyo malaman ang range, average deviation, variance, and standard deviation, as well as yung kanina, yung measures of central tendency. So ayan. So para mas maintindihan natin kung ano yung appropriate na statistical measures na dapat gamitin sa bawat data na given, so let us have the activity. So determine which measures of central tendency and measures of variability is appropriate to use for each problem. Okay. So let us have problem number 1. So two salesmen of cell phones are competing for a position. According to the manager, the basis for promotion is the number of cell phones sold for the past 5 months. The data is shown in the table below. If you are the manager, who deserves to be promoted? So, meron tayong dalawang tindero dito na nagko-compete, naglalaban para sa isang posisyon. Siyempre, tataas ang kanilang posisyon kasi nga mapopromote sila. At the same time, tataas din ang kanilang sahod o yung sweldo nila. So, base dun sa namamahala nung cellphone shop or gadget shop na yan, so ang magiging basihan daw ng makakakuha ng posisyon is yung tindero na maganda ang benta ng cellphones for the past 5 months. So, ito yung mga data. So, January, February, March, April, May. So, yan ang 5 months na sinasabi natin, yung particular months. And then, sa second column, makikita yung benta ni salesman 1. Sa second column naman, makikita natin yung benta ni salesman 2. Okay. So, kung i-analyze natin yung ating data, ayan. So, dito muna tayo sa salesman. So, during January, nakabenta si salesman 1 ng 18 units. Si salesman 2 naman, 22. And then, February, 31 yung salesman. And then, salesman 2 naman, 20. Pagdating ng March, biglang naging 87 yung benta ni salesman 1. Si salesman 2 naman, 27 lang. And then, on April, ang benta lang ni salesman 1 ay 10 units. Pero si salesman 2, nakabenta siya ng 28. And then, during May, si salesman 1, nakabenta siya ng 29. And then, si salesman 2 naman, nakabenta siya ng 25. Okay, so, bago nating sabihin or sagutin kung sino yung mas deserving na ma-promote. So, syempre, ano munang statistical measure ang appropriate para dito? Okay, so kung gagamitin natin yung mean, so i-add lahat natin yung mga scores, 'di ba? So, yung mga naging benta, number of cell phones sold. So, dito tayo sa salesman 1. So, kung i-add natin yung mga nabenta ni salesman 1, ang makukuha nating sum ay 175. And then, i-divide natin yon sa 5. Ang makukuha nating sagot is 35. Yan si salesman 1. And then, kung si salesman 2 naman, so 22 plus 20 plus 27 plus 28 plus 25, ang makukuha naman natin for salesman 2 is 122 over 5. Ang makukuha natin is 24.4 or gawin natin siyang 24. Ito yung kay salesman 2. Okay. So, sa tingin nyo ba yung mean yung appropriate, yung akma na gamitin? So, for this given problem, so analyze natin yung mean or average number of cell phones sold ni salesman 1 is 35. And then, kung magbabase tayo dito sa given data, ayan. So, yung 35, hindi siya masyadong malapit dun sa mga data. Like, for example, 18, 10. Ayan. Masyado siyang malayo. So, bakit naging 35 ang kanyang mean kung meron lang siyang 18, 10? Ganyan. It's because meron kasi tayong extreme value dito, yung mas mataas, which is 87. Kaya, hinila niya yung mean. Okay, next. Dito naman tayo sa salesman 2. So, yung mga benta niya, 22, 20, 27, 28, 25. So, mapapansin natin, yung mga benta niya is magkakalapit lang. And then, yung nakuha nating mean is 24. So, yung 24 na yan, malalapit lang po yan dito sa ating mga nakuhang cellphone units na nasold ni salesman 2. Okay. So, yung mean, hindi natin siya pwedeng gamitin dito na batayan. It's because meron tayong extreme value dun sa salesman 1. Okay. So, ang akma natin gamitin dito is median. Okay. So, bakit median ang akma natin gamitin? It's because kapag meron tayong extreme values dito at median ang ginamit natin, konti lang yung effect. Okay, so kasi maaring sa March mataas ang benta niya. Hindi naman laging mataas ang kanyang benta. So, meron lang particular month na malakas ang benta niya, which is yung March. Pero bandang April, naging 10 na lang. So, kumbaga, hindi siya consistent. Hindi katulad ng benta ni salesman 2, ayan, magkakalapit lang sila. Okay, so, kung papipiliin, kung ako ang manager, ang deserving dun sa posisyon na ma-promote is si salesman 2. So, kasi, consistent kasi yung benta niya. Ayan, magkakalapit lang. Hindi katulad ni salesman 1, magkakalayo. Next, problem number 2. Mr. Peña gave a summative test to his grade 7 students. The purpose of the said test is to determine the performance of most students with the same level. What statistical measures should Mr. Peña use? Okay. So, since kinoconsider niya yung individual performance ng students dun sa particular level na yon, ang pinakaakma na gamitin ni Mr. Peña is standard deviation. Ayan. Same level lang kasi yung mga students. Okay, so then pare-parehong test ang kanyang binigay. Okay, so diyan, syempre papasok dyan yung mean. Kukunin niya yung average. And then, i-relate niya yung individual scores na yon dun sa mean. So, kaya ang pinakaakma talagang gamitin dyan is yung standard deviation. Next, for problem number 3, Tiamo serves different flavors of milk tea to their customers. One day, the owner recorded the number of served customers in a week. Which measure should the owner use to identify their average customers? The recorded data is shown below. So, ayan. Ito yung ating data. So, tinitignan natin dito yung average customers for the past 7 days in a week. Okay, so ayan yung ating data. So day 1, ang bilang ng customers is 57. And then day 2, 54. Day 3, 58. Day 4, 53. Day 5, 59. Day 6, 51. Day 7, 60. So anong mapapansin natin sa mga number of served customers? Ayan, magkakalapit lang sila. So, wala tayong extreme values dito. Wala tayong mataas na number at mas maliit na numbers na nakahalo dyan. Pare-pareho lang sila, magkakalapit lang sila. Ayan, line of 5 lang sila. And then, meron lang tayong isang line of 6. Okay, so para ma-identify natin yung average customers dun sa Tiamo, so ang gagamitin po natin dyan is yung mean. So, gagamitin natin ang mean dahil wala tayong extreme values, yung very small or very large values. So, check natin yung kanyang mean. So, i-add natin from 57 to 60. So, 57 plus 54 plus 58 plus 53 plus 59 plus 51 plus 60, we have 392. And then, i-divide natin yung 392 by 7, ang makukuha nating sagot is 56. And yung 56, malapit-lapit po siya sa mga number of served customers. Ayan, 57, 58, ayan, malalapit siya. Kaya, ang akma na gamitin natin dyan is mean. So, problem number 4. So, a researcher would like to determine the span of ages of the COVID-19 patients being treated on a private hospital. According to the records presented to him, the youngest patient is 7 years old and the oldest patient is 81. Which statistical measures is appropriate to use? Okay. So, tinitignan ng isang researcher kung gaano kalayo yung mga edad ng mga COVID-19 patients sa isang private hospital. So, syempre, meron tayong record dyan ng mga COVID patients natin. Ayan nga, kitang-kita dyan na yung youngest patient is 7 years old and then the oldest patient is 81 years old. So, since dinedetermine natin, tinitignan natin kung gaano kalayo yung span na yan, ang appropriate statistical measure na gamitin natin dito is, of course, range. Take note that range is the difference between the highest score and the lowest score. So, yung oldest patient natin dito is 81. And then, yung youngest patient natin is 7 years old. So, 81 minus 7, we have 74. So, ito yung span of ages ng COVID-19 patients na ginagamot sa isang private hospital. Okay, so ayan. Usually, kapag ang pinag-uusapan natin is span, okay, kung gaano kalayo yung agwat. So, range po ang ating gagamitin dyan. Lalo na given naman yung youngest. Youngest para siyang smallest. Yung oldest para siyang highest. Problem number 5. On the recently concluded running event, participated by many individuals, 350 are below 20 years old, 145 are from 21 to 30 years old, and 490 are above 30 years old. Which measure is applicable to use in order to determine the age bracket with the most number of participants? Okay, so merong running event dyan na sinalihan ng iba't ibang edad, iba't ibang uri ng tao. So, makikita natin dyan, meron tayong below 20 years old. Yun yung may mga edad na 19, 18 pababa. Then, meron din tayo dyan from 21 to 30 years old. And then, above 30 years old. Kung meron tayong below 20 years old, meron tayong above 30 years old. So, paano natin malalaman kung ano ang applicable na statistical measure? Okay, so tinitingnan natin alin sa mga group of individuals dito yung may pinaka marami ang naging participants. So basically, yung above 30 years old, yung may pinakamaraming participant, most number of participants, which is 490. So, ano yung applicable na statistical measure na gamitin dito? The answer is mode. Tandaan natin that mode is the most frequently occurring value in a set of data. So, tinatanong lang naman kasi kung ano yung age bracket ng with the most number of participants, kaya mode po ang ating gagamitin.